This is my French presentation, Art et Architecture Francis in French. Um, my subgroups are architecture, Gothic, and Renaissance architecture, along with surrealism art. Let me move so I can see. I also want to say that I'm not perfect when it comes to pronouncing anything. I actually struggle a lot with my speech. So, history on Gothic architecture. The history of Gothic architecture in France, characterized by soaring heights, pointed arches, and incredible details, the style empathized vertically to connect with the divine and elaborated stained glass emerging in France around 1140 and dominated until the 16th century. The image on the left, La Cathédrale de Notre Dame. Both of these images, one is outside and then the other is inside with the arches. And then the image on the right is the Church of St. Denis. The history on that church is the Church of St. Denis was originally built as a church over the tomb of St. Denis, the first bishop of Paris. It became the burial site of nearly all French monarchs from the 10th to the 6th to the 19th century. French queens were often crowned there. And then the history of the Notre Dame. It is also known to the people as Our Lady. This building began construction in 1163 and finished in 1345 under the reign of King Louis, although after it was finished, it did go through more construction and design. It stands as a testament to the French history because it has went through the French Revolution and watched Napoleon's coronation. Here are two French architectures that primarily had the Gothic design. On the left, we have Abu Sugar, and then on the right, we have Jean de Sales. So, history on Abu Sugar. He had built and designed the Church of St. Denis. He was a French abbot and an estate salesman and a historian. He was known for his roles in the development of Gothic architecture. And then history on Jean. He was a French master mason and a sculptor. He played a huge role in the construction of Notre Dame, and during the 16th century, he was well known for his work with stained glass and windows and focused on the Gothic architectural elements. Architecture de la Renaissance, which is just the Renaissance architecture. The history behind that, it starts in the 15th century to the early 17th century. It was a transformation from the Gothic architecture into the Renaissance. It's highly inspired by Italian Renaissance themes. This is a style often combined with traditional French Gothic architecture with Italian Renaissance architecture. And it carries over elements such as pediments, arcades, classical orders, columns, and plasters. On the left, we have Saint Estue in Paris, and then on the right, we have Hotel Divier. Saint Estue in Paris, dating back to 13th century, this building took over a century from 1532 to 1637 and incorporates both styles we have talked about, Gothic and Renaissance. It is used as a site for many things, such as baptisms, weddings, funerals of notable figures, and was briefly repurposed during the French Revolution. Um, the Hotel Divier originally was a mansion called the Mansion Aux Pillars, but in 1514, King Francis called for the reconstructions to serve as a city hall, which was completed in 1628. This building was then damaged by fire during the Paris Commune in 1871, but then was rebuilt, becoming the largest city hall in Europe. Renaissance architects in France. Both of these people do have Italian backgrounds, so it seems that it was really brought from Italy. They didn't just look at it and adapt it. They had people from Italy come and help um, learn the architects from Italy. The guy on the left, Frey, and then the guy on the right, D'Amico. Frey was born in Vera around 1433. He joined the Dominican order at age 18, but then left them and entered the Franciscan order. He was an architect, an archaeologist, and a classical scholar. He was known for introducing Italian Renaissance architecture styles to France. And then Domenico di Corda was known as Bocador, was an Italian architect and woodworker who became a prominent in France during the Renaissance period. He was best known for his designs on the Hotel de Ville, but also highly contributed to the introduction of Renaissance architecture styles in France. Now we are on the Surrealism art. Um, the images on the left are both from the same lady, and the images on the right are both from the same man. The images on the right are from Andre Manson, and then the images on the right are from um, Louise Borghese. I'm definitely butchering that, but so the history on surrealism art in Paris. It was a art and literary movement in Paris in the early 1920s. Surrealism aimed to liberate thought and expression by exploring the unconscious mind, dreams, and irrationality, drawing inspiration from Freud's psychoanalysis and the Dada movement. The Dada movement rejected traditional values and embraced absurdity and nonsense. The images on the left, Femme Mansion and Femme Voyage. Um, Femme Mansion translates to women's house. It was painted by Louise Boys and create both of these were created in 1945 to 1947. She aimed to express and question female identity in domestic spheres. These artworks show the challenges women faced in traditional society roles during this era. The Female Voyage is women's travels, expresses the experience of women traveling and exploring the world, often defying social norms and expectations. And then the other two images are both from Andre Manson. Um, although the pianature and the metamorphosis of lovers are not recognized in art history due to the misunderstanding concept related to Andre Mason's metamorphosis. And how he had broader constructs and exploitation of realism's themes. He didn't necessarily fit into the box, which is strange because that's what it's like going against, but I definitely think that they fit the category of surrealism. Then next, we're talking about them two individually, and then we're adding the Reese's, the spider. So the image on the left is Louise, and the image on the right is Andre. And then the image in the middle is the spider sculpture. Um, so Louise was born on December 25th, 1911. She grew up with art in her life. She worked at a like tapestry shop with her family. They owned the tapestry shop. Um, her art often showed like female pain and just expression of female life, death and birth and stuff. She's well known for her large-scale structures and installation arts, as well as her work in painting and making. The spider structure symbolizes both fierce strength and fragile, 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 uh, well, fragility. It also represents how she views her mother. And Mason, known for his contributions to surrealism and the abstract expression, his work explores themes of violence, eroticism, and the subconscious state of mind. He is initially influenced by Cubism and then later joined the Surrealism movement in 1924. My thoughts, but in French, um, comparing French architecture and art to America architecture and art. The architecture Gothic et France, comme, comme Notre Dame et des Arches, points est de grands vieux. Elle est très différente de l'architecture des Mirki, comme les thèmes maya, pionniers de Renaissance. La French construit des plaies comme la vieille avec un style classique. Plus tard, l'historisme et French explores les vieilles ex de artistes combien la art de américaine, les traditions automatons et la European. And then here are the questions. What century was the La Carta de Notre Dame built, um, or finished? And what is, or where was he estimated to be born? And then who made the spider sculpture? There are my sources. Thank you for your time, and yeah.